Derek?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good morning. Have any of you ever wondered how people design and make the characters for a 3D animation movie or video game? It's a multi-stage process that involves usually a large group of people that come together and make a character from the imagination of the artist to what you see on the screen on a day-to-day basis. Now, this normally begins with the concept art. Concept art is something that gives the artist a wide variety of ideas. It helps them to build a character design. It helps them to take the story in whichever direction they want to do, such as this form of concept art. This is from the Disney movie Tangled. It's just something that allows the artist to very quickly put on a piece of paper different ideas so that they can come up with the different characters. Because without the different characters, without an actual character to tell a story about, there's not going to be a story to begin with. So this is where you always have to start out, is with some type of concept work. So in a quote from Chris Patmore from the Complete Animation Course book, he actually states, "All stories are character driven. If there is no character, there is no one to tell the story in the movie or the game." So once you finish the concept art, you have to move on to what's called the modeling process for 3D animation. This is where you actually get the big, huge characters like Shrek or something like that. So with that, you have a variety of different programs that you can use, things such as programs like 3D Studio Max, Maya, or like ZBrush. Now, all of these programs start out with a little cube. It's just a box. That's all it is. And you have to take this cube and expand on it to make it look like the character that you want to do. They have a whole bunch of different things you can do with transforming it and everything else. But eventually you come into this nice character. Then you bring it into a sculpting program like ZBrush or something along that lines, and that's where you add a lot of detail to the character and things like hair and fur things, all that good stuff. So on from there, we have a quote from Peter Vamos, and he stated in a 3G article in one of the magazines that cinema is starting to approach real life. You saw this in the movie Avatar and a couple things like that. It's getting a lot more realistic, and the closer that we get towards realism, the more that it's going to be used in movies and commercials. Anything that you see on TV nowadays is normally touched up on by one of these 3D modeling programs in some way, some shape. But once you finish the model, it's pretty barren. It looks pretty much like this. It's just a skeleton, wireframe. It doesn't have any looks. So then you move into what's called texturing. Texturing is how you actually put a look onto your character. So you can use a program like Photoshop, or you can take a picture. Like I could take a picture of you and wrap it around this model on here, and this model would look just like you in the game. It's no different than doing that. So, but most people actually use the 3D modeling package. They just apply base colors, and then with using different lights in the package, that's how they give the depth to the character and how they make it look. They can add hair to it, and different effects like glowing hands or whatever they want to do. So now we move on to the last and final point, and the hardest of everything is animation. All right, Kevin Harger stated in his book, Exploring Drawing for Animation, that knowledge is the ability to be a good observer, and it provides artists with a firm, realistic foundation upon which to build their drawing and animation skills. You have to know how something moves before you can make it move yourself. If you don't understand how something moves, you're going to have something that looks unrealistic. So with animation, it always starts out with a skeleton. Just like this. Looks kind of bare, doesn't it? The skeleton gets attached to the character, and then you can either have a human. I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen Lord of the Rings with the Gollum character. That was actually a human that crawled across the ground and acted like that, and a computer and a camera captured the movements of this person and translated it into the character. Or you can do it the more traditional way, which is most commonly done, which involves hand moving each and every single part of that character. Very difficult, very time consuming. But, so between the concept art, the modeling, and the texturing, and then the long process of animation, it takes a lot of work, and it's a long time. It takes a long time to actually get this done. Learning the form takes a lot of practice and a lot of work. So Erskine stated in an article that animation is no longer purely an art form, it is an art perfected by technology, and I couldn't agree more.